We have another bizarre case coming out of Utah. Jennifer Gledhill stands accused of taking the life of her late husband, Matthew Johnson, but that is not all. As if a page book was taken from the Adelson playbook, her parents have also been arrested and charged with helping her cover it up. We're going to talk about all of it in today's video. Y'all know how I'm always going on about Drift and how I absolutely love them, and I carry the thing, I get in my car, take it into work and all that. Well, buckle your seatbelt, okay? Because Drift has outdone themselves. You now can have it in your home. Let's talk about it. So first of all, what is Drift, you're asking? Well, I'm about to tell you, so just please hold on. So look, Drift creates air care products. These can be for your car, your home, and they only use premium, essential, and fragrance oil blends. Y'all, we're talking vegan. Y'all, we're talking cruelty-free. And y'all, guess what? We're talking pet-friendly, which is a must for my home. Now, this is the absolute, besides the smells of them, obviously, the next thing in line that I absolutely love about Drift is it is a subscription model. But y'all, this is like the subscription models to end all subscription models, okay? Because it just keeps on giving and giving for an insanely low price. So first off, you're gonna receive a starter kit. It comes with the scent, the whole 9 yards. And then you can just get like monthly refills, as they recommend changing it every 30 days. Now, also another amazing part is a scent of the month. This features a new limited edition scent. They're inspired by the season and also the memories and emotions attached to it. If you followed me, I have worked with Drift for a long time. Y'all, whether it is spring, summer, winter, fall, it doesn't matter. They have that on lock down, and these scents will tap into the recesses of your comfy vibe memories, and I am absolutely here for it. Now, another thing I love about them is they're visually appealing. Yes, right? I love the way it looks in my car. I love the way it looks in my home, okay? Let's talk specifically about the home scent diffuser. So the customizable fragrant options can enhance any room, and you can have like different vibes for different rooms if you get multiples. It has the intensity level adjuster. There's 3 different levels, so you can like change that up for however you want. So if you're wanting like a room to be like the greeting room, or your like entryway to hit your guests with that like womb, but you're wanting like your everyday living to be just a little bit more subtle, they've got you covered. The refills last up to 30 days, and the little magnetic thing, y'all, for the car thing, it works like an absolute genius invention, okay? Because it is, right? And the scent in the car, y'all, these things, these wood chips, the stone chips, they last forever, okay? I know Drift is being nice, saying, hey, it goes up to this, but y'all, I absolutely love how long the smell goes and how intense it goes. And that translates over to the home one as well. It's knocked out any other one I've ever tried. And now here is one of the most genius things about the home one. It has the rotating plug. I mean, come on, right? So how do you use this? Well, let's go over it. You remove the magnetic cover from the diffuser, unscrew, remove the refill cap, insert the refill into the diffuser with the logo facing out until it clicks, replace the magnetic cover, plug in the device, and you're good to go for up to 30 days. And obviously, like I said, you can rotate that plug if you want it. So y'all, give it a try. If you've already tried the car one, you're gonna want to try this one too. The subscription is so inexpensive. It's what makes this absolutely beautiful in addition to the scent, and it just keeps on giving and giving and giving and giving and giving. So give it a try. So y'all, they're hooking the Sofa Squad up. Use my coupon code ReportingLiveFromMySofa. You're gonna get 55% off. Y'all, buckle your seatbelts. It's less than $5 for your first month, okay? I can't even get coffee for that cheap, and that only lasts like maybe an hour with me, right? So go ahead, give it a try. Let me know what you think. Hello, Sofa Squad, and welcome back to the sofa. Sofa's back there, and I'm right here, but I'm pumped. The boys are over there. They're not staring at me, but they're chewing on some little chew toys sent by Jenny. Thank you again. They're in love. It's a total playtime over there. Once the boys are a little bit more not puppy zone, crazy, all that type stuff, they'll come out more and hang out on the sofa, and I'll hold them and whatnot. But pretty much we've been in like the throes of puppydom. So, but that's not what we're here today for. Today we're here to talk about another case coming out of Utah. Like I said, the headlines don't stop coming, okay? Now, this is another tragic case that involves a lady named Jennifer. And again, this is all alleged. We've not been convicted, so just know that, okay? But she stands accused of taking the life of her husband, and like I said, her parents have been arrested. Yes, her and her husband did have children. We'll be looking at some updates with that and custody and things of that nature. What I want to do is kind of go over just a brief synopsis of the entire case. Then we're going to review the affidavit, and then we're going to review some clips from updates from like her court appearances and things of that nature. Now, please do keep in mind before we get into this, I'm not a cop, I'm not a detective, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a therapist. I ain't none of that fancy credentialed stuff. Ooh. Only credentials we got is the sofa, some sass, self-diagnosed personality disorders on my part, okay? So I'm just making opinions based on very public information, and that's all they are. This is all alleged. Like I said, nobody has been convicted of anything in this yet. Okay, now I'm just going to be reading from my notes here about this, and we'll put some pictures up and things of this nature so you can be viewing along with me. So on September 28th, 2024, Jennifer calls the police department to report her then husband, he's now obviously deceased, or missing, or whatever they want to call it at this point, but Mr. Johnson, Matthew Johnson was his name. She's reporting him missing. Now, she'll say that she hasn't seen him since they fought on September 20th, 2024. Now, Jennifer tells police that Matthew was like, I'm going to be away for a week. Don't even try and contact me, so on and so forth. Seems a little bit odd, but, you know, okay. However, here's where it gets more bizarre and a little bit of a wrench is thrown in Jennifer's plans, allegedly. So apparently she wasn't being all that faithful. Oh, great. Then an informant, aka the person she was having an affair with, spills the beans. So they're basically like, look, I had to come to the cops, I had to talk because things seem very off. Now they will say that on Sunday the 22nd, Jennifer comes over and she's all like, well, on the 20th, Matt came home and, you know, he knew that like we were doing our thing. I was like having an affair, whatever. So he figured this out. She was sleeping with somebody else. He goes off. They have this argument. So on the 21st, while Matt's sleeping, allegedly, Jennifer takes his life by way of pew pew, okay? So she takes him out. Now the informant will go into all the sordid details with how Jennifer said she disposed of Matt's body and then tried to cover up the crime. And I mean, this goes into like, get him a thing, get him down the stairs, go and find a shallow grave, doing this. Obviously the mattress is destroyed. There's evidence all over the place. It was intricate and bad, okay? She told this person all of these things. Again, allegedly, right? Allegedly. So you can imagine with all this that the detectives are like, yeah, we completely are going to Jennifer's house. We're totally getting a search warrant. Thank you. Goodbye. And they do just that. So when they get to her house, they start like going through stuff and they're like, yep, yeah, everything's adding up. We found this in the bedroom. This is suspicious here. This is suspicious there. So then on that note, one of the neighbors tells the cops, they're like, well, guess what? And the cops are like, what? The neighbor's like, well, on the 24th, Jennifer's parents were here cleaning the house and they didn't leave till like really late that night. So the cops are like, well, maybe this is a family affair. We need to talk to them, okay? So let's go talk to Jennifer's parents. So they go talk to Jennifer's parents, and they're like, oh, Nipsey, we got a new mattress because Jennifer asked us to. That was what that was. We did go into the bedroom, but we didn't go where the incident took place, okay? No, we didn't do that. We were hardly at the house. So you already know, like, red flags, like, where the incident took place. You were barely there, but neighbors are saying you were there forever. You get a new mattress, and this dude over here is talking about she took her husband out while he was sleeping in the bed with a gun. Yeah. Things aren't looking good for any of the Jennifer family, right? So then the cops are like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to go one layer deep into the investigation. We're going to look at the GPS on the phones. You already know what I'm about to say. Might as well be at Walmart at the checkout with a credit card with your name on it, okay? GPS lines up. The whole story about where it went here and when it went here and to and fro and all this stuff, it completely lines up, right? So this is just like, yeah, this is painting a very, very grim picture. So then the cops are like, okay, now at this point we need like a search warrant for Jennifer's parents' house. So they get that, they go there, they find a gun and like a container over there that the informant had like said that Jennifer showed them. So this is like all adding up, right? This is absolutely not good. So then they do DNA testing, and sure enough, go on and guess whose DNA in the blood was on the mattress. Just go on and guess. You already know. It's the late Matthew Johnson's. Okay, so that being said, that's the quick overview of the case, okay? What we're going to do now is get into the nitty-gritty details by going over the affidavit, right? But I just want to kind of get everybody on like that same page that we're on. So this is what we're talking about today, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to literally just read the affidavit. I think it's like 9 pages or whatever. And then we're going to look at some of the news clips of like her court appearances and whatnot. Depending on when you're watching this, she is going back up for a court appearance again, like next week sometime. And today is the 17th, Sunday. So just know that, like, that's when I'm recording it. I don't know when you're watching it. So keep that in mind that this is, this is that fresh, right? So let's go ahead. I'm going to put that first page of the affidavit up. Now you're going to see here at the very top, like we always see, state of Utah. And then this time it's versus Jennifer Gledhill. It just goes into the little things here. You see to the right, no bail warrant. And under there it says the undersigned Detective B. Phelps with Cottonwood Heights Police Department agency case that lists that out upon a written declaration states on information and belief that the defendant Jennifer Gledhill committed the crimes of. Okay, so that's the parameters of who's who and whatnot. Let's go ahead and just get into each count. Now you'll see here on the first page it says count 1 MDV, and it lists the statute number, a first degree felony as follows: that on or about September 21st 2024 in Cottonwood Heights in Salt Lake County, the defendant did intentionally or knowingly cause the death of another, or intending to cause serious bodily injury to another, commit an act clearly dangerous to human life that caused the death of another, or acting under circumstances evidencing a depraved indifference to human life, knowingly engage in conduct which created a grave risk of death to another and thereby caused the death of another. Furthermore, the defendant was a cohabitant of the victim. Now let's go on to page 2 and to count 2, obstruction of justice, capital/first degree felony conduct. Lists the little number. A second degree felony as follows: that on or about September 21st 2024, and lists the same places, the defendant did with intent to hinder, delay, or prevent the investigation, apprehension, prosecution, conviction, or punishment of any person regarding conduct that constitutes an offense that would be a capital felony or first degree felony, alter, destroy, conceal, or remove any item or another or other thing, and is a second degree felony if the conduct that constitutes an offense would be a capital felony or first degree felony. Now it says to wit, deleting WhatsApp messages. Okay, so count 3, obstruction of justice, again, capital first degree felony. And then it just lists these over here as well as basically the same thing that we just read above, and it lists them out. Now going on to wit, disposing of mattress, count 4, obstruction of justice, capital first degree felony conduct, and it lists the same things that we led before. So far we have the deleting WhatsApp, we have disposing of the mattress, obviously the M charge. Then we go down further to count number 5, to wit, cleaning the house. Again, obstruction of justice, capital first degree felony conduct. It lists these same things here. Okay, and these are all on the same day, the 21st. So then at the bottom of page 2, we see to it, disposing of guns. So let's go ahead to page 3. So page 3, count 6, this is disposing of the gun, obstruction of justice, it's the felony conduct, and same thing as before, okay? So then we go on down to that, moving truck, count 7. Again, now we're going to read this one out. It says the same things kind of in the above, but it says possession of a controlled substance with intent to distribute. And then it says a second degree felony as follows: that on or about September 21st, 2024 in Cottonwood Heights in Salt Lake City, the defendant did knowingly and intentionally possess with intent to distribute a controlled counterfeit substance that was A, classified in Schedule 1 or 2, B, a controlled substance analog, or C, gamma hydroxybutyric acid as listed in Schedule 3. Now let's go on to count 8, and this is abuse or desecration of a human body. Third degree felony, which is surprising, pause, that this is only a third degree felony, right? But anyways, so it says as follows: that on or about the 21st of September 2024 in Cottonwood Heights, Salt Lake City, the defendant did intentionally and unlawfully disturb, move, remove, conceal, or destroy a dead human body or any part of it. Now count 9, tampering with an evidence, third degree felony as follows. We're going to read this one out too. That on or about September 21st, same place, the defendant did believe that an official proceeding or investigation was pending or about to be instituted, or with the intent to prevent an official proceeding or investigation, attempted to induce or otherwise cause another person to A. testify or inform falsely, B. withhold any testimony, information, document, or item, C. elude legal process summoning him to provide evidence, or D. absent himself from any proceeding or investigation to which he has been summoned, or 2. solicit, accept, or agree to accept any benefit in consideration of his doing any of the acts specified under subsection 1. Now let's go on down here. Beneath that, we see it says the information is based on evidence obtained from the following witnesses. And we see AC, Officer G, Commandeer, an informant, identified neighbor, identified neighbor's mother, Detective Alcivar, Detective S. Winters, Detective B. Phelps. Then it says declaration of probable cause on this next page. Okay, so now we're going to get into like the details, right? So we see the charges. It paints a very grim, very calculated picture. So at the very top here, it says your affiant faces probable cause on information and evidence collected by Cottonwood Heights Police Department. It cites the case number in the following. The statements of AC with the Utah National Guard that on September 25th, 2024, he contacted Cottonwood Heights Police Department and requested assistance in locating a fellow National Guardsman, Matthew Johnson. AC stated that Matthew had not returned to work, which was very unusual, and he had tried to call Matthew several times, but his phone went straight to voicemail. AC stated the National Guard was going to list Matthew as AWOL. I mean, y'all, this is the thing with people who are in the service like this, when somebody does something to them, especially someone like this, where, I mean, again, this is allegedly, but allegedly, if Jennifer really did something to her, it's like, bro, it's your husband, right? You know that people are 100% going to come looking for him. Like 100%, like, you know it, right? If there's a chance the person will go AWOL, you know someone's coming to look for him, but I guess maybe they think they can talk their way out of it, like we've seen. I don't know, let's keep going. The statement of Cottonwood Heights Officer G. Commandeer, I'm not sure if I'm saying the name right, I apologize if I'm not, that he contacted Jennifer Gledhill by phone September 28, 2024. Gledhill wanted to report her husband Matthew Johnson as missing. Gledhill stated that Matthew had not been seen or heard from since September 20th, 2024, when they had an argument at their home in Cottonwood Heights in Salt Lake County. Gledhill provided Matthew's telephone numbers and a vehicle description. Gledhill stated that Matthew told her that he was going to be gone for a week and not to call him. Officer Commandeer noticed that during his initial call with Gledhill, she seemed distracted and at times nervous. Interesting. Let's continue. The statement of an identified informant through interviews with detectives that he was having an extramarital affair with Gledhill. Informant stated, and this is where it gets, the tea is coming out here, okay? Informant stated that on Sunday, September 22nd, 2024, Gledhill asked to come over to his house just before midnight to give him some prints. Informant stated that Gledhill arrived at his house and was visibly distraught. Gledhill then told informant that she was likely going away for a very long time and wanted to give the prints to someone who would enjoy them. Gledhill told informant that Matthew had returned to the home on September 20th and started yelling at her because he knew she had been sleeping with someone else. Gledhill told informant that on the night of September 21st, 2024, she had shot Matthew in the head with Matthew's 9mm Glock as he slept in their shared bed. Gledhill stated that she smashed Matthew's cell phone and hid his vehicle in a neighborhood near their house. Gledhill told the informant that she loaded Matthew's body into a rooftop storage container, slid him down the stairs by herself, and loaded him into the back of her minivan. Gledhill stated that she had taken Matthew's body north, dug a hole, and buried him in a shallow grave. Gledhill stated that she cleaned everything up. Informant stated that he observed bruises on Gledhill's arms and legs, which she explained were from moving Matthew's body and cleaning the mess in the house. Informant stated that Gledhill told him she was very likely going to kill herself that very night, or eventually if the police figured out she killed Matthew, as she refused to spend her life in prison. Informant stated that Gledhill had shown him a tan Glock handgun on September 19th, 2024, and she pulled the slide back, showing him it was loaded. Informant stated that he waited to contact police with this information because he wasn't sure Gledhill was telling the truth. Informant stated that Gledhill told him not to say anything and that it was not a crime to not say anything. Wow. let's keep going. So continuing on, it says, informant further stated that he and Gledhill communicated via text message and WhatsApp, which he provided to the police. So that's where you see where the charges are coming from. In these messages, Gledhill tells informant that she assumed he would be like her, and if her friend told her a hypothetical story, she would say, "Let me get my shovel." Gledhill told informant that if she was told the story she told him, she would take it to the grave. Gledhill told informant, "I washed everything and vacuumed, and it's not an issue anymore." Informant stated that as he was taking screenshots of these messages, Gledhill was actively deleting them. Informant turned over the screenshots to law enforcement, as well as phone conversations he recorded with Gledhill alluding to her actions. Now, I'm starting to kind of chuckle here because it's like, kudos to this informant, this dude, right? He is getting the details, he's getting the receipts, and just, literally carbon copying these straight to the cops, right? Which is how this should go. Somebody comes to you with this next level story, it's like, what? Can you imagine having an affair with somebody and then they come to you like, this is their logic, and he has to be thinking like, would I be next? Honestly, like, She's expecting, well, I told this to a diehard friend or whatever. I'm like, yeah, girl, okay. No, he was immediately turning that over. And again, a lack of knowledge about how these apps work. It's like, once you delete in the messages, I get where you would want to do that, but no. It's once you type that stuff out, it's there, girl. Okay, it ain't going nowhere. Okay, let's continue. The statement of an identified neighbor that she lives within view of Gledhill's residence. The neighbor stated that on September 20th, 2024, she observed Matthew's truck backed into the garage. Neighbor stated the night after 21st of September and early into the early morning when she left her house the afternoon of September 22nd, Matthew's truck was not in the driveway. Neighbor stated that on the 24th, she observed Gledhill's mother and father at the home with Gledhill and the children. Neighbors stated Gledhill's mother and father left the residence at approximately 2300 hours. The statement of identified neighbor's mother that on September 24th, 2024, she observed Gledhill's parents in the home cleaning. The parents were observed cleaning in the garage and moving things around, and all the lights in the house were on, and she could see the parents cleaning inside. Again, I'm like, have we heard of curtains? I'd have the place on lockdown. You wouldn't be able to see it. I'd have boarded up practically. Nope. We're just going to clean, and you have to question how much do they know, not know, that type thing, right? But we'll find out, okay? So let's continue. So on September 30th, 2024, detectives located Matt's truck. It was 3 miles away from his home, and detectives obtained doorbell cam footage that showed the truck was parked in its location on the 21st at 06:15 hours. Detective located Matthew's phone inside of his truck. Last paragraph. Detectives obtained a search warrant for Gledhill's residence. Detectives noted that the mattress in the master bedroom was on a heavy wooden frame with no box spring. The mattress appeared to be brand new. Convenient? I don't think so. Coincidence? I don't think so, right? Additionally, the entire wall behind the master bed appeared to have fresh white marks from cleaning. Several reddish-brown spots were located on the walls, bed frame, and blinds of the master bedroom. Detectives noted that the wall behind the master bed was covered in bleach. The master bed was pulled away from the wall, and the carpet below the bed was forensically tested and flashed positive for human blood in an area with a large circular pattern. This pattern was located under the right side of the bed near the head of the bed. Detectives noted a strong smell of chlorine in the basement and observed the black carpet on the stairs appeared to have bleach discoloration on several stairs. During the search of the basement, a carpet cleaner was located and collected as evidence. It was noted that during the search of the home, no computers, laptops, or electronic storage devices were located, although an Affinity high-speed internet box was located and found in the living room. Let's continue on. We're going to go to page 6. During a search of Gledhill's Chrysler Pacifica, detectives located a black box containing 3 small cardboard cylinders that contain a powdered plant substance. Inside a black fanny pack were 6 Ziploc bags containing what appeared to be psycho mushrooms. Okay, the trippy cat. Okay, not the shiitakes, the trippy cat. Okay, they appeared to be packaged for individual sale. Inside a white purse was $206 and a pocket on the interior of the purse. Detectives also noted that the back seats of the van were folded down, increasing the cargo capacity of the van. Detectives obtained a search warrant for Gledhill's cell phone. Again, we're going to get into this. GPS mapping of the phone showed that on September 22nd, 2024, around 6 a.m., it traveled near the area where Matthew's truck was ultimately discovered. At 13:44 hours, the phone begins moving northbound on I-215 westbound. At 13:46 hours, a phone call is placed to Gledhill's father, which lasts for approximately 4 minutes. The phone then continues north towards, at 13:46 hours, a phone call is placed to Gledhill's father, which lasts for approximately 4 minutes. The phone then continues north towards Davis County via Legacy Parkway at 13:50 and continues northbound until it is powered off at approximately 14:37. Gledhill's phone then appears powered back on at approximately 17:07. A call is again placed to her father at 17:08 as she is traveling eastbound on the West Davis corridor. Detectives located video footage from a Maverick gas station located on Parish Lane in Centerville, Utah. The footage covers September 22nd, 2024 from 1700 hours to 1730 hours and shows a Chrysler Pacifica that appears to match Gledhill's enter the Maverick property from 1250 west, then turn into 375 north into an apartment complex. The Chrysler Pacifica is seen leaving at 17:25:19 hours. This location was corroborated by Gledhill's cell phone location data. Detectives received a LPR hit on Gledhill's Chrysler Pacifica. Detectives located video footage from a Holiday Oil on a Highland Drive. The footage shows Gledhill's Chrysler Pacifica at the car wash at 22:37 on September 22nd, 2024. The Pacifica uses the car wash, then parks near the vacuums. I mean, y'all, I'm waiting for Walmart, right? Yeah, the single occupant is then seen thoroughly cleaning the Pacifica on all sides and opening all doors. This was also corroborated by cell phone data. The Pacifica then leaves at 23:07 p.m. Shortly thereafter, Gledhill's phone shows present at informant's residence at 23:47 hours, consistent with his report. Further analysis of Gledhill's call records show that at no point after September 21st, 2024, did she ever attempt to contact Matthew. Again, let's keep going before I get my mouth running. So detectives served a search warrant on Gledhill's parents' house. Detectives located a plastic tote near the bedroom where Gledhill would sleep when she visited. Inside the tote, detectives found a Glock 19X gun box, green tannin color, with one of the handles broken. The gun box was wrapped in a child's onesie. This gun container is consistent with the gun model and color, which was shown to informant by Gledhill. Let's continue on to page 7. So detectives later confronted Gledhill's parents concerning their presence at Gledhill's home on September 24th. Gledhill's mother stated that she was only at the house for less than an hour. Gledhill's mother admitted to purchasing a mattress from Amazon at the request of Gledhill on the 24th. Gledhill's father stated that he could not remember the details of that day, but was there for a short period of time. Detectives confronted him concerning other evidence suggesting otherwise, and he said he was helping with a leak in the garage. Gledhill's father was asked if he went into the master bedroom, to which he responded, "I did not go in where the incident happened." Gledhill's father admitted to sending a text to Gledhill on the 26th that the mattress had been delivered to their house. Detectives provided a section of carpet that appeared to have blood on it to the Utah State Crime Lab. Forensic scientists conducted serological testing which confirmed the stain was human blood. DNA testing was initiated and a profile was developed, showing the blood to originate from a single source that was male. I wonder who that could be. At the time of this filing, further testing is ongoing to compare this single source to Matthew's DNA, and results are pending. At the time of this filing, detectives have been unable to locate Matthew's body. Detectives note that nobody, including family and coworkers, have heard from Matthew since the 21st, which is inconsistent with his normal pattern of life. Now, below that, we get into the motion for no bail hold. And it just says that the state requests that the defendant be held without bail until further notice in this matter on the following grounds. The defendant is charged with multiple felonies. Based upon the above probable cause statement, there is substantial evidence supporting the charges and clear and convincing evidence that the defendant would constitute a substantial danger to any other individual or to the community, or is likely to flee the jurisdiction of the court if released on bail. Now, the last paragraph on this page. In this case, the defendant presents a substantial danger to the community and to the integrity of law law enforcement investigation if released on bail. Record searches reveal that the defendant had previously made unsuccessful attempts to secure a protective order against Matthew during the course of their marriage and was found by the court to be an instigator and one to goad Matthew into response in order to get him in trouble. The state believes that the defendant was very calculating in her crimes and that she arranged for the children to stay with her parents during the evening Matthew was killed. Investigation further revealed that she asked for parents to keep the children for another day, presumably while she was cleaning up the crime scene and disposing of Matthew's body. The evidence is significant. The defendant obstructed the investigation by removing the mattress. She admitted to informant that she had shot Matthew while he was sleeping and replaced days later with a new mattress. Defendant noted through interviews that the cargo box was observed at the home on prior occasions and has since disappeared. Many of the informant's statements have been corroborated by other evidence, including her admission to burying him up north in a shallow grave, consistent with her cell phone travel on the 22nd of September. The location of the bloodstain is also consistent with where one would normally place their head on a mattress while sleeping. The gun described by the informant was also consistent with the gun box defendant hid in a onesie at her parents' home. The informant reported that the defendant hid Matthew's truck in a nearby neighborhood, which was corroborated. Further, the bruising observed by informant on the defendant's arms and legs were, as she stated to him, consistent with moving Matthew's body from the home into the cargo box and out of the home. The evidence is substantial, and if released, the state believes the defendant will continue her efforts to cover her crimes. Further, the defendant is a flight risk. The defendant told informant that she would kill herself before spending her life in prison, or that she would flee to Indiana with her children. Due to the serious nature of her allegations, the defendant should be held in jail without bail. Now, this is signed off Braden Phelps, and then authorized for presentment and filing Joshua Graves at the bottom. So that's the affidavit. So one thing that majorly sticks out to me before we get into anything else is when the investigation was done on her trying to file those orders against Matthew, and she was found to be the instigator. Think back again, Sarah Boone and George, right? We just came off that case. That was the energy that this gave, so it's a shame that nothing was ever done in that to ever maybe come to that conclusion in the Sarah case, because I feel like that probably would have been a thing, right? Now, also, let's talk about the parents real quickly in this. So clearly they're misleading the police, right? They were there cleaning, they were there doing this, and it's, oh, we didn't do this. Can we talk about the dad saying I didn't go in where the incident happened? I mean, hello, like, go ahead and put the handcuffs on your daughter, right? Not that I'm complaining. It is what it is. This is one of those things where, here's this. Okay, when you start looking at these cases where parents get involved and stuff like this, okay, there's two levels to this. Like, there's a level of like, and I don't even know what you call it, but like, it's like the human need to like, self-preservation, family preservation. My kid messed up. No matter what, I'm going to try and help them, whatever. This is like a whole other level when the parents are actively helping to cover something up. They have grandkids, they have this, she's been out trying to get Matthew. It's just like, really? And again, this reeks of the Adelson trial, the Adelson case, right? We're not going to go into it right now, but just if you don't know that case, look it up, okay? Literally the same stuff going on. The mother's going to be going to trial at some point. I mean, that's what this feels like right here. The sloppiness of it. It almost feels like, I know the cops like, oh, it's premeditated. It very well might be. Because to me, it's almost giving like heat of the moment, killed him, had to figure it out after. Because it was so sloppy, right? Like with the cell phones, everything, the neighbors, the cleaning. Why are you cleaning the house like that for people to be able to see, right? It's like clearly they're novices at this. And again, I'm not complaining about that because it would be awful if they were obviously seasoned killers, right? So we're not complaining about that, but it's just bizarre. So this is another one of those heartbreaking cases. And I mean, again, I'm saying Charles Vallow, right? I mean, just look at these scenarios like this, where these people, these spouses get railroaded in these situations. So what I want to do now is fast forward a little bit in the timeline of this case, and we're going to review some clips of her court appearances that are just kind of like little updates, basically, of where things are at before this next status hearing that's coming up. Now, when this first kicked off, the state had asked for a protective order against her so she could not get up with her children. Okay, they're all under the age of 12. And now when asked why, here's what the state had to say about this.
Children of the victim and the defendant, and there is some concern about obstruction that has been alleged to have already occurred and involvement with the children specifically. They will be likely witnesses in this matter.
Now, Jennifer's defense would say, hey, look, you know what? These are her kids. It's going to harm them even worse by not letting them have contact with her. And they're also like, even if she does have contact with them on some level, like whatever that might look like, it's going to be supervised. So there was some back and forth about this and going on. And here's what ultimately the judge had to say about it.
So, Ms. Gledhill, for now, and until Judge Mao tells you something differently, ma'am, I am going to order that you have no contact with. So, ma'am, that means no in-person, no telephonic, no electronic contact. Ma'am, if you're released, you may not go near their residence, school. You may not have anyone else contact them on your behalf. And, ma'am, while this order is in effect, you may not possess a weapon or ammunition.
Now, she was held on no bail, and so a detention hearing was set with another judge. Now, we're going to go ahead and visit that here for a second and for a minute. Now, they would set a November 22nd at 1 p.m. hearing, and we were obviously going to follow up with that. And then they would get to that protective order, okay? Now, her defense, of course, is like, hey, we need to dismiss this protective order. We don't even want this. He would remind the judge that the children are not listed as victims and that the father is missing. Okay, this is a key point that he says, and that no one knows where the father is, right? Now, after outlining everything, her lawyer would have this to say.
Punishment. My client's already lost her liberty. At this point in time, it feels like the state and the city, the police agency that investigated this, are trying to set everything that my client loves on fire, essentially.
Oh, okay. So on the heels of that, he would again mention her parents being arrested the night before and that basically like everything she loves is being taken away from her, right? Now the state would remind the judge, hello, this is like an ongoing open case going on. What we want to do is like ensure that the kid's safety is number one, right? And they're like, look, once we figure out like where everything's at, who, like what's going on, we might be opening to revisiting that protective order later, but they're standing strong, like they want this in place. Now, the state would also update the status of the children to the judge. Let's hear what they said.
So they are currently in DCFS custody with a temporary placement with family. I believe the plan is for the children to start engaging in therapy and addressing the loss of their father and the fact that their mother has been charged with his murder.
That's going to be rough right there. Now, the defense would go on to say that, like, you know what, hey, we have very little discovery. And they would even go so far as to say that the state was like gatekeeping, okay? So this is what the judge ultimately had to say about all of it.
I think technically it could be in place, but I don't think that's the intent of the statute. However, I am going to put a no contact order in place, which I realize for now practically is the same thing, although it takes away some of the potential criminal penalty. I'm not willing to carve out any exceptions today to that. If, as the case proceeds, or as counsel can stipulate, I'm willing to carve out exceptions to that. Because I do recognize, that is a limitation not only on Ms. Gledhill, but also on the children, and that can be detrimental to them as well.
Now, the judge would also say that he was going to get together a release recommendation report by the next hearing. Now, what I want to do is listen to a quick clip, like a little news clip type thing about the parents' arrest.
Thomas and Rosalie Gledhill have been arrested on 3 counts of obstruction of justice. Police say the Gledhills helped their daughter Jennifer clean up the evidence after she murdered Matthew Johnson. Police say the parents have not cooperated with the investigation and have not helped to find Johnson's body. Police are still searching for that body tonight. You can read more about the allegations on our website, abc4.com.
Now, as you heard, Thomas and Rosalie, Thomas is 71, Rosalie is 67. So think about that age right there. That's what's going on, right? So I'm very curious to learn more about the parents' involvement, to see how snowed or how involved they are in it, right? The fact that they were, misleading and all this kind of stuff makes me think that, they're probably aware of what took place, like, and they were, like it was a true cleanup. But again, I don't know. That's just alleged. Now, I want to talk about just a couple of general thoughts and whatnot about this. Again, I'll say it 100 times over. She hasn't been convicted or anything like that. It did sound like this judge that we heard from is pretty fair, right? And being like, okay, well, let's, do A, B, and C and make sure of this and that and whatever. Now, do I believe the informant? 100%. Why would they lie, right? Unless there's some big scheme of like, he's the one who did it, okay? But all of the evidence so far is like, it's a no-brainer, okay? I think all the way down to the kids are over at the parents' house. The neighbors see this, there's blood here, it lines up with this, we get a new mattress, GPS adds up, she confesses the whole thing to the lover, okay? It's not good. Now, also at the center of this case are the children. They're all under the age of 12, okay? I think the oldest is like 11. So you're talking about 3 kids who don't have a father and do not have a mother anymore, right? Now, I don't know if they're staying with the grandparents or who I can't imagine they are, but it's like, imagine that. That's just as tragic as everything else, because it's like, okay, well, the family's completely shattered now. Now, if it does turn out that she is this like very conniving, manipulative human being, yeah, it might be better off for the kid's safety that she's not going to be their mother anymore, because you never know. I know that it's a huge jump to say, like in my mind, what I'm thinking, somebody willing to kill her husband, could the kids be next, right? Now, another thought is like, that's like a big jump to be somebody who's like, they might kill their husband, but not their kids. But you don't know in a moment of desperation, right? Look at Alec Murdaugh, okay? So those are the things that come to my mind with it. It's incredibly distressing. Now, another thing that is truly heartbreaking and horrifying, and I hope it doesn't happen, is when the state was like, the kids might have to be witnesses. Can you imagine how scary? It'd be scary to do it now, right? Can you imagine being that age and having to go up there and testify, like essentially against your mother? So this is one of those things where if it all pans out and it keeps going this way where it's like, yep, hands down, it would be in everyone's best interest for her to plead out to at minimum avoid those kids from getting on the stand, okay? So this will be another one of those cases to see what's more important, her thinking she can talk her way out or take it to trial, or the kids' mental health well-being. Another thing that really stuck out to me about this was, and again, I already mentioned it, but I'll talk a little bit more about it here, was the previous thing where they were like, look, we did this investigation and she was the instigator. She was trying to get reactions out of him to try and get him in trouble, talking about Matthew Johnson, her late husband. So that right there, again, when I heard that, I'll reference it again, the Sarah Boone case. I was like, I feel like that's what was going on with Sarah Boone. At least in this scenario, it was done and it was come to the conclusion of, yeah, that's what was going on. Imagine what life was like before all this happened in that household. What did the children see? What was the day like? What kind of drama was going on? The whole 9 yards, okay? She's very kind of chill and laid back and and the court appearances, like, almost like, okay. It's almost very much like Lori Vallow. It's almost very much like Jody and what's her name from 8 Passengers. You know who I'm talking about. I can't think of the top of my head right now. But like that vibe of like, hey, what's going on? Where you want to be like, hello, you in there? You know what I'm saying? So again, it's just these headlines that are coming out of there. They're not that good. So we'll see. So like I said, she's going back up for like another hearing and whatnot. We'll see what happens there. We'll see if they've come to anything. You can almost rest assured that what the DNA is going to say. I mean, it's, come on. So that part right there where they looked over the evidence of the house, again, think about how messy it is to shoot someone. Like, I've never shot somebody, so I don't know, but we see these where it's like, you're not going to cover that up. You're not going to cover that up. There's going to be spatter, whatever you call it, everywhere. Okay. You're not covering up, shy of gutting the room. And I can 100% tell you, they'd be like, well, 30 years later, we went back in and ripped the floor panel up and we found a speck of blood that had it gone one more day, it would have been unusable, but it matched Matthew's DNA. You know what I'm saying? Like, people speak from the grave. It's so wild and obviously good to me how that works out in a lot of these cases we follow, but also it doesn't work out in a lot of them, right? And people get away with these heinous crimes. So that's it. If you're still watching, I do appreciate you hanging out with me for this long. If you could drop a few sofas off down in the comment section below for Mr. Roscoe and Spirit, Bo and Luke, who are sleeping very nicely on the bed, and myself, who's hanging out here. That way the whole little squad over here will have a place to hang out in the comments, talk about this case and all of the ones we do talk about here at the Sofa Squad. And until we meander our way down there, I'll see y'all soon. I just wanted to say thank you again for watching the whole video, and also thank you for being part of the Sofa Squad. Special thanks to all the Patreon members, channel members from both of my channels, everybody who likes, shares, subscribes, comments in the comment sections. It helps the channel out so much. Now, don't forget, I do have that other channel, the podcast channel. That's where we go live, we hang out, we talk. We have kind of sort of a schedule, but just be sure and check it out. I'll put it up here on the screen. Also, if you're looking for merch, be sure to check out my Teespring store. I'll put that up here. And then, like I said in the beginning of the video, if you want to follow me and Roscoe on the Instagram, go on, check it out. It's right here on the screen again. But once again, thank you very much. I really appreciate you being part of the Sofa Squad, and I'll see you in the next video.